I took a cheez-it and I made it bigger. The question I've been getting a lot lately is, can you make your own cheez-its? Why would you make a bigger cheez-it? And why are cheez-its going viral right now? I don't know. Let's go ahead and just dive into making our own cheez-its. Everything you see here is what I'm gonna be using to make the cheez-its, minus the cheez-its. But there's something that I noticed. You might be wondering why the paprika. Here's something I noticed and why I'm including paprika, and actually why I'm pretty stoked to be including paprika. Come here real quick. But we have paprika extract color, and then we also have paprika in there too, along with annatto. I have annatto seed, but I don't want to include that because I feel like not everybody has that. But everybody should have paprika for the most part. I grew up with paprika at least, and it was always in my pantry. What do you want? I grew up with paprika at least. And the reason why I'm actually excited to include this is because paprika has like a nice smokiness to it. And I think that is why cheez-its have that sort of bite. And this is gonna give it that bite. Now, whenever you include a cheese into a recipe, something that requires measurement and baking, you wanna be precise, right? You probably don't wanna be using pre-shredded cheeses. I don't know if you could read this, but trust me, it says modified cornstarch anti-caking agents. That is so the cheese doesn't stick together in the bag. It has like this anti-coating agent. It could just be like flour, cornstarch. Also, the reason why I have this is fat-free cheddar cheese has hella protein, by the way. Really good shit. Anyways, this stuff is gonna be just pre-shredded on my own, and I recommend you do the same because those anti-coating agents, that could affect our recipe, and we wanna just have straight up cheese for this. So you shred it yourself. You might have one of those fancy graters that goes in the food processor. I have one of those as well, but I don't see the purpose for just one little block like this. I'm just gonna grate it by hand. Now everything just gets tossed into the bowl and mixed up until it turns into a ball. This is such an easy process, and this is something that I got from one of the restaurants I worked at. We had something called poppers on the menu. There were these Kalamata olives stuffed with cream cheese, and they were wrapped around with it. Sometimes I would make jalapeno poppers on my own, and it was fucking delicious. So you could even make like a really nice jalapeno popper with this dough. Sometimes I use the towel trick whenever I'm using the stand mixer. Keeps you from making a mess. And cheez-it dough. It's got a nice orange to it, actually. This is a better orange than when I made that goldfish recipe. I figure I already got the dough. I might as well make some jalapeno poppers anyway. Why not? Just roast some guys off, wrap it in dough, and then you got a nice jalapeno popper. The dough's been resting for about 15 minutes. The dough should not be too thick. I would say about credit card and a half thickness. It also feels like Play-Doh. It feels like Play-Doh or pasta, so don't be too intimidated. This is a really easy dough to work with, I've found. I'm really liking the color from this paprika, by the way. It looks just like the cheez-it color. To be honest, that's pretty spot on. Pretty fucking spot on. Boom, boom, boom. Obviously, you can save the scrap and roll that out as well, make more crackers. And there we go. That is a cheez-it right there, ready to be puffed up in the air fryer. I'm gonna make a big cheez-it today though. But just so you know, I mean, you can make regular size crackers. This tool right here This tool right here I've used for tons of pastas. I used to make pastas for like 10 restaurants. I would cover the pasta shift, and this guy is solid for cutting all types of pastas. And I'm just thinking, you know, make it bigger, right? I feel like that should work. So let's just make a giant cheez-it. Now, why would you make a giant cheez-it? Why wouldn't you make a giant cheez-it is the real question. All right, geometry friends, can this be 2 squares or 3 squares? I'm gonna say 2 squares. Let's call it 2 squares, right? There it is. Voila. Can't forget the hole. There it is. I'm gonna air fry these guys today, which is just a fancy word for high convection bake. I just gave it a little spray of non-stick. Isn't that cute? I can also fit my little guys on here. Why not? Let's give it some flake salt. So I might spray these down. Yep. Spray them down and sprinkle flaky salt all over that. And I think we could just use a touch of citric acid just for some brightness, some pop, and a little bit of MSG. Yep, yupperinos. Now you keep hearing me say air fry, and you see an oven here. This oven has many features. This is the Joule Chef Steps Breville oven. Many features, and it lives in my kitchen right here. Actually, right next to my giant regular size oven, which does not have an air fry feature. So this thing's already winning because it also dehydrates. Anyways, this is a really great tool. I'm using this. I'm just gonna air fry this until GBD. We've got 2 different size pieces in here, so the time is gonna vary depending on size. Now remember I mentioned the versatility of this dough. It can be used for something like a jalapeno popper. I'm just wrapping the dough around the jalapeno, and obviously I would say you should stuff your jalapeno with something. And there we go, a cheez-it jalapeno popper. Stuff it with some more cheese if you want, but this guy, one of my favorite bar snacks, fucking delicious. Another versatile thing about this dough is you can keep this in the fridge and it's gonna last for quite a while, and you can just pull it out when you need it. Keep in mind, you're gonna want to pull it out and let it come to temp and sort of, not proof, but come to temp for when you need it. All right, let's pull you guys out so you can see these Cheez-Its. Oh ho ho, those are some giant looking crackers. Here's what the regular size Cheez-Its look like. They actually look really good. That looks like a Cheez-It. They've got a nice crunch. Fuck, they even taste like Cheez-Its. They're good. One thing that you might notice is they're not as orange, and that's because of what I mentioned earlier, the annatto. You can add some annatto for color if you'd like. That's what Cheez-Its does anyways. It's the same flavor. Just gotta add that annatto to it. So, I don't know, what's better? This or that? We'll decide when we look at the giant one. Now, unfortunately, my giant ones did not all keep the square shape. For some reason, they wanted to like invert on themselves. But that is a huge looking cracker. I mean, put it on a cheese plate, I'd say. It looks great. Fuck, I would serve these for a cheese plate. I think this is probably the prettiest looking one. Or do you think maybe this one? I can't really decide. This is an absolutely insane difference. Like, come on. It looks so cute compared to it. That's fucking crazy. Gotta compare, right? They just look so much better with that annatto color. Cheez-its does good with that. Now that is a fucking good thumbnail right there. I made the actual size Cheez-its. All right, later guys, that's enough.